Hey, what's up, guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So, in the comics, we know that at some point Negan breaks out of his cell. Negan is locked up just like the comics. You know, he's there for a while just like the comics, and he talks to several characters just like the comics. Well, in the comics, he pretty much talks to just Carl. Then he eventually starts. I think he starts talking to Rick more. But you know, in the show, obviously Carl's dead. And we've seen Negan talk to Rick in the trailer. We had a sneak peek on I don't know where it came from. I think it was an official sneak peek, and Negan was talking to Michonne in his cell. So those are the two characters that we know that Negan talks to, which makes sense because those are pretty much the two characters that wanted him alive. You know, Rick and Michonne pretty much sort of teamed up on that. You know, they sort of teamed up on the whole thing with letting Negan live and locking Negan up. But like the comics, I do believe that Negan will eventually break out, because we know that we're getting the Whisperers, and I believe that it's going to be a lot of Negan's story is going to be like the comics, where someone breaks him out. Maybe he kills that person, because that's what happens in the comics. And then he travels. He learns about the Whisperers. He travels and he goes to Alpha and Beta, and he talks to Alpha and earns Alpha's trust slowly. And then he kills her and decapitates her. Takes her head back to Alexandria, presents it to Rick, and says, "Look, you are not locking me up. I just did you a big favor." Well, it won't be Rick, because Rick will probably be dead. It should be Rick, but Rick's probably going to be dead at this point. I think Rick will die before the Whisperers are even properly introduced. We might not meet Alpha or Beta until after Rick dies. So they could still do that with Michonne. Maybe whoever's the leader. I mean, I don't know who the leader is going to be, but Negan brings Alpha's head and presents it to them, and pretty much after that, Negan earns his freedom, and then eventually Negan fights during the Whisperer War, and then he's exiled. So, I mean, all that stuff happens in the comics. In the show, they could do things differently. They could switch some things around, but I do think that Negan will be broken out. If not in the first half of the season, maybe the second half. Maybe it's the big event in the mid-season finale. The big event in the mid-season finale could be the heads on spikes, but if we're going to have Rick die in episode 5 or 6, episode 8 seems like a little early to do the heads on spikes. I mean, people are going to be grieving about Rick. If Rick dies in episode 5, people aren't going to be ready for the heads on spikes in episode 8. They're just not going to be ready. You could do it, but I don't think the fans are just... I think they'd just be numb at that point, because they're still going to be grieving over Rick. I mean, it's Rick. It's going to be a big death. People are going to be upset. If Rick dies in episode 5, I think episode 6, 7, 8, 9, hell, I mean, the next few episodes should just be about the characters recovering from that loss. So doing the heads on spikes, they could save that for the end of the season. That way we get Ezekiel and Rosita for the rest of the year, the rest of season 9, but then they die in the finale, and 10 other characters, because it's 12 heads on the spikes. Maybe Negan stays locked up until then, and then he learns about it, and then he breaks out, and then he goes to Alpha and kills her, or maybe he kills Beta instead. I don't know. I want him to just kill Alpha like the comics, because I want Beta to live as long as he lives in the comics, because it's Ryan Hurst. I want Beta to live as long. I want him to be in the Whisperer War. I want him to get into a fight like later on, like come out of the woods. I think Negan should kill Alpha like he does in the comics. I think they're setting it up. I really do. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan would. He could really handle pretending like he's in love with Alpha and manipulating her, and then all of a sudden killing her. I mean, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan would have fun doing all that. Now, as for how he gets broken out, in the comics, I don't even know his fucking name, but it's this little bitch. It's this kid whose family's dead, and he blames Rick for it. So he breaks Negan out, and then Negan and the kid, he's like 15 or 16 or something. They both go out and travel, and then eventually Negan just kills him, and then he goes to Alpha and later kills her, then comes back. But I don't even think that character exists in the show. So they could remix that and have it be Tammy and Earl, because if Tammy and Earl are still mad at Maggie about what happened to their son, if they still blame Maggie, what would be a good way to get revenge on her? Breaking Negan out of his cell. That would be insane. Maybe they want Negan to kill Maggie, and then Negan just kills both of them and then leaves, or something like that. I don't even know if Tammy and Earl know about Negan. I mean, I think Negan is public knowledge to most characters. The Saviors know he's locked up, Hilltop, Alexandria. So, while Tammy and Earl weren't really around during all that war, at least I don't think they were, they still probably heard about Negan, and they know that Negan is the guy that killed Maggie's husband, and she literally won't go to Alexandria because he's there. So, especially with Tammy, like we've seen that she's kind of a crazy bitch. I could see Tammy sneaking out and then breaking Negan out. Maybe Earl stays at the Hilltop and he doesn't even realize it, and then once Negan gets broken out, he kills Tammy, travels, goes to Alpha, kills her. But yeah, I definitely think it's possible. I think that they will break Negan out. I don't think Negan is going to spend the rest of the season locked up. Maybe he spends half of it, maybe he spends most of it, but I do think at some point in this season, Negan will break out of his cell. But yeah, that's just what I think. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think will happen with Negan? How much of his comic story will be adapted, especially once Rick is dead? And don't be shy, hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 148. I would love to try to get to 200 in the next few weeks. So just remember, every bit of support counts, whether it's a comment, a like, a subscription, sharing this channel, sharing this video with anyone that you think might be interested in. Even if they're not interested in it, just tell them to check it out anyway. I'm just kidding. But yeah, just whatever you guys want to do to help support the channel, every bit of support is appreciated. I promise you, and this channel is going to continue to grow. I have faith. With all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.